We're here in Monte Carlo for the Rendez-Vous de Septembre. For AM Best TV, I'm Richard Banks. And I'm joined now by Tim Quayle, CEO of OneAdvent. Tim, it's good to see you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So everybody's very excited about the prospects for MGAs. AM Best has a positive outlook on the segment, but hard markets can pose a challenge for MGAs, and even softening markets can pose a bit of a challenge. Tell us about your analysis of where we are.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, we're seeing more grown-up MGA plans now. So I think we're seeing plans and individuals who have a kind of clear idea of what their kind of value proposition is. And I think MGAs that understand that and understand that you have to be able to justify what you're taking out of that distribution chain, and that has to be clear and quantifiable. I think those MGAs will thrive in whatever market conditions. It's probably those sort of Me Too MGAs that are maybe a team of underwriters who've sat in an insurance company and fancy the MGA dream. They're probably the ones that are vulnerable as the market starts to soften.
So to what extent can MGAs recreate the value chain?
I think there are probably a few different ways. I think MGAs can be a bit more nimble. I think they can look to be earlier adopters on technology. So they can probably use data in different ways. To some of the big insurance companies, they can probably look at innovation in a different way. So I think that ability to be nimble and that ability to maybe move a bit quicker in terms of innovation and trends probably helps them to kind of challenge that traditional distribution chain.
And as the MGA segment becomes more sophisticated, inevitably there will be M&A activity. We've seen some of that already. Tell us a little bit about what you expect there.
Yeah, we've seen some of the big, certainly from a London perspective, we've seen some of the really big sort of multi-line multi-class MGAs be bought up by big American outfits over the last 2 years. I think there's probably a bit of a gap in the market there, and we're certainly seeing a lot of very ambitious plans, not necessarily brought to us by underwriters, but brought to us by sort of very credible individuals who can bring teams of underwriters with them. And I think they're probably targeting filling that gap with a view to probably the next round of M&A.
What's the secret of success of an MGA?
Underwriting, I guess. I think that's, yeah, I mean, you've probably got to be underwriting first. I think if you're underwriting first, you build trust with your capacity. Trust with capacity turns into long-term capacity relationships, and then you've got a bit of flex to put the foot on the gas when you need to and not. But I think, yeah, it's got to be underwriting first.
So there was a sense, wasn't there, a couple of years ago that you were a talented underwriter, you might go and get some capital and start up an insurer or reinsurer. Nowadays, it's more likely to be an MGA, I guess.
I think so. I think the valuations are showing that that's probably where the prize is. I think if you look at what MGAs are going for in some of the recent M&A deals versus what balance sheet businesses are, I think that's probably the prize that everyone's after.
So you mentioned the application of data, and a lot of talk here this week about AI. What do you see as the challenges and the opportunities that AI presents to the insurance industry generally?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about AI. I'm not sure I'm necessarily qualified, but we have put a team onto AI. So our CTOs kind of spun up a team to look at AI, look at potential use cases. And I think from our perspective, I think we're always quite cynical of these kind of, when everyone starts to, we had it with blockchain a few years ago. I think there's a healthy cynicism, but I think equally we acknowledge that AI is going to have a huge impact on most business areas. And so we're looking at use cases at the moment. We're kind of playing around with a few things just to see, but I think we're sort of cautiously trying to stay on top of it. So yeah.
So Tim, one final question, if I may. Is there one thing that's being overlooked today that's going to be really important in the future?
I think from my perspective, people. I think we're a real people industry. All this talk about AI replacing those perhaps less experienced roles in the insurance industry. If that's happening, how are you going to bring that talent through? How are you going to bring those talented individuals through and give them that experience so they are the leaders of the future? And I think that's a challenge that we've got to solve for. And insurance isn't alone in that, right? That applies to a lot of other sectors where these developments in AI are going to have a huge impact. And so, yeah, I think we've got to work out how can we still attract the talent coming out of university into those roles without replacing them with technology, so that they are in 10, 15, 20 years time, they're the leaders who are driving the way forward. So,
Tim, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
For AM Best TV, I'm Richard Banks.